Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Salute, Knick family. No intro tonight. We got the whole crew straight from the beginning. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We're going to do the weekly show tonight. We're going to do the game recap. We're going to open up the phone lines if there's anybody who wants to call in. Geoff, Jerrell, Ajay. We just move stuff around. Jerrell's been here.
Jerrell got to be in his spot.
He got to be in his spot.
Yeah, that's his corner. I don't want to take Jerrell's corner now.
No disrespect.
I know, none taken.
Okay, all right.
Put the man on top.
Ajay is in his right spot, all the way on the end, because he be coming in whenever he feel like it.
I was on time today. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. You came in yawning though. You ain't the only one tired, Ajay.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Well, considering,
not good. Not good.
Considering, I'm doing okay, I guess, Steph. You know what I'm saying? Doing okay.
I ain't okay.
I mean, let's get into it after the show or sometime tomorrow. I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail. I got OG up there on the thumbnail. How about that man? And he was like 0 for 37 tonight. So
yeah, man.
But it wasn't just him. It's just hard for me to understand. Like this team is really good after a loss. Like they're gonna rebound, they're gonna respond.
Mm-hmm.
You just would like to see them, regardless of the opponent, whether they won the night before, whether they lost the night before. There's a certain way to approach the game that I didn't see in Utah. And I didn't see today in Dallas. But anyway, let's just start with tonight's game and your thoughts. Jerrell, we'll start with you, Geoff, Ajay, and then we'll mix it up after that.
Well, for me, same old for the past couple games. Like we've been inconsistent. Had a good game against Dallas, obviously. I mean, not Dallas, Denver.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. Had a very good game against Denver. But we shot the lights out. I don't expect to shoot like that all the time. I know we have a good offense, but that game was crazy the other night or the other day. Our defense is still bad, and I don't see how it's going to get better yet. Like that's the main thing for me. I know we're going to have, like, we're an offensive team now, so I know we're going to have good nights shooting the ball. We're going to have bad nights shooting the ball. We're going to have more good than bad, because I really do think that we're one of the best offensive teams in the league, but that defense definitely needs work. That's our main problem.
Now, Dallas is a very good defensive team, even though they were without not just Luka. I think they were without Gafford and Clay and someone else. Do you think this is what it's going to be, Jerrell? When we play a weak defensive team, we're going to be able to score pretty much at will. And if we come across a strong defensive team, we're going to look like this.
No, not necessarily. I think we're a good offensive team regardless. I just think, sometimes you have good nights and you have bad nights. Just like you said, OG Anunoby's performance alone wasn't normal, compared to how he's been playing lately. Jalen Brunson was 37 points. And Cat, scored a lot of points, but just offensively, we wasn't, like our usual selves. But I think nights like that will happen. We didn't get anything from our bench, pretty much.
Yeah. Geoff, your thoughts, and you can answer that question if you want. You don't have to.
Well, here's what I'll say. I guess I'm going to try and be positive, which isn't really in my nature when it comes to my sports teams. But think about it. On a night when we shot 24% from three, we scored 114 points, including 76 or something ridiculous like that in the second half. Like, we only had 38 points at halftime, and we still put up 114. So not sure that the offense is the problem. And I think that you're going to see this for a while. When you have a team that doesn't have a defensive identity, you just kind of ebb and flow when you're making shots or you're not making shots. You know, and when we're hot, we're going to look like the best team in the league, like we did against Denver. And we're not. We're going to look like the worst team in the league, like we did against Utah, and like we did in the first half tonight. I mean, you can't dig yourself a 22-point hole and expect to just lift your way out of it. I mean, and especially when you can't get stops. I mean, they scored more points in the second half than they did in the first half against us in this one, and they made buckets from everywhere. I mean, they shot over 50% from three, 56% from the field. You know, they got whatever they wanted for, you know, you can whatever you want. Quentin Grimes has definitely had a career game. He was up for this one. Kyrie loves to play against us, but Najee Marshall was cooking us. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player. He cooked the Nuggets the other night too, but you know, until we can figure out the defensive end, I think we're going to be on this roller coaster ride quite a bit. And when we score like we're capable of scoring, we're going to put up video game numbers. And when we don't, it's going to be kind of ugly for a while, because we don't have you know, that's the problem with being an offense only team. When that part of your game isn't going, what else do you have? And right now our defense is terrible.
Yeah. Even when we went on a mini run, I think it was, and we had some good, you know, defensive possessions, but not enough to get back into into the game. Ajay, your thoughts on tonight and just this team overall?
Tonight, I don't want to share my thought on tonight. So
listen, no, you're not going off script. So you're gonna just go off script and just talk about whatever.
I'm not gonna go off script. But this team, I think you just mentioned we have no defensive identity. We don't know what we're doing on defense. So you know, the other day we beat Denver because we outscored them. We put like, I think 137 or whatever. So we still didn't play great defense the other night because they scored a lot of points also. So when we cannot score the ball, we're just not gonna win. That's not a way to win. You're not gonna win anything that way. Okay, because, and I think Jerrell mentioned, there are nights where you're not at Queen, you text me, we can't buy a bucket. There are gonna be nights like there's any night that any other team played like any half defense on you, you know, because you got to remember, we already small, so they don't really have to play defense. Just put a couple of big guys on you. They obviously, we were undersized compared to them. They had a big guy on Jalen Brunson all night, completely disrupt the offensive flow, and we just couldn't get anything going. And because we have no defense, we couldn't string 2-3 stops in a row at any point in the game. You're just not going to win that way. Okay, so it's just that's just it for the team. And you know, offense is not a problem. So people worried about OG Anunoby. So the way the math works out is he had 40 the game before. He had 8 tonight. So that's the average is 24. So he still had a great couple of games when you count it that way, because on average he's a 19 point per game guy. So he's still doing above average when you look at the math. That's for people who look at stats that don't mean nothing. But yeah, we're just not gonna win without defense.
Not consistently, anyway. To you and Jeff's point, when the offense is rolling, you're gonna win. When it's not, you're gonna lose. Now, this is not going to be us for the rest of the season. I just think this is who we are right now. I think the front office and the coaching staff understands that you might not need to have a top 10 defense, but you need to have a better defense than we have now. You know, so long term, quite honestly, I'm not worried, because if it doesn't pick up with Mitch and Precious, either this season or in the off season, the front office is going to figure it out in terms of what we need, right? So I know there's some people like, oh, we can't win a championship like this, and we can't. But I think the front office and the coaching staff, understands that. How much? I know everybody's going to say both, but I thought some of it was Dallas defense, and I think some of it was just the Knicks just missing shots right at the basket, layups, dunks, loose balls. And you can argue that the more they were the more aggressive team, so they're going to get the loose balls, they're going to get the calls. No, I don't think the game was unfairly officiated. Somebody in the chat, I forgot, I think it's Knicks 100 GM said Brunson had 1 assist. In order to have an assist, you got to have players who hit shots. So, I mean, you really have to look at what was the process, were the passes being made and guys missing shots, or were were there no passes being made, right? So you can't just look at assists. Assists is results, right? You got to look at the process. It takes 2, like Ajay always points out to us, to make an assist. Yeah. Anything you think Thibodeau could have did different? Anything you thought Thibodeau could have done differently?
Okay, don't know why.
I mean, if not, it's not.
Okay, for me, real quick, I don't think it was a tips. I think we just was missing shots, and they did play very good defense against us. Like our 3-pointers was the reason we lost in a nutshell, and our defense. Like we only shot 24% from 3. They shot 51. Other than that, it was around the same amount of points in the paint, and I think we shot like 90% from the line. Like it was our 3-pointers wasn't falling, and they played good defense on our 3-pointers. Like we didn't get a lot of open shots. So I think that was the difference.
And we went to the line 30 times and made 27. And made 27 of them. Shout out to the chat. I think with this team, for me, I'm not getting too high and I'm not getting too low. Right. I just feel like it's going to be a work in progress. A work in progress for some time. Anything else? What was the rebound there?
Well, I think that what stands out to me is OG and Bridges really couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat tonight. I mean, OG was 3 of 15, and I think 8 of 19 for Mikal, and I think that he hit his last 3 in garbage time. So, really you can say 7 of 18 for all practical purposes. Right. You've got to have better play from your wings. I mean, if you're not going to defend, and clearly we weren't guarding anyone tonight, then you better be making shots. And really, if you look at the box score, those two, like Cat didn't have he wasn't great tonight, but Cat didn't have a terrible game. He was like 7 of 16 from the field. Brunson had a really nice game as far as scoring the ball. Josh Hart was Josh Hart, and, we're not going to get a lot from our bench. So we kind of know that already. So you can't have 2/5 of your starting lineup lay an egg. And, right. And it's frustrating and it stinks, but, it's just our reality right now. We're just going to, until we get some more help and at the 5 spot, we're in the 4 spot. We're going to have nights like this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jalen Brunson, 37 points, 7 assists, 2 steals, went to the line 10 times, made 9 of them, 14 of 21 from the field, didn't hit any of his 3-pointers. Karl-Anthony Towns, 25 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, went to the line 10 times and hit 9 of them, 2 3-pointers, 7 of 16 from the field. And to your point, OG Anunoby, 3 for 15, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 for 8 from the 3-point line. And Mikal Bridges, 8 for 19, 4 for 10 from 3, has not gone to the line. I mean, he hasn't been career-wise, hasn't gone to the line a lot, but this year has to be a career low in terms of free throw attempts. He did have 5 rebounds. The Knicks put up this stinker and only had 8 turnovers. And they might have had they might have had most of those in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. I'll take a look at that. In a few. Not a lot from the bench, but I'm not sure how much we're expecting from the bench. Campaign had 6 points. He was 2 of 3. Jericho Sims had 1 point, a block, 2 steals, an assist, 1 rebound. I mean, yeah. And Miles McBride with 5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. For me, it is more about the energy that the Knicks are starting some of these games with, or lack thereof. And that was Utah and tonight. It's like, oh yeah, we got a game tonight, and we're already down 20-5 or something like that. What have you seen, particularly tonight and in Utah? I mean, do you share that sentiment that that energy is just not there from the beginning, or you think they just ran into a I hate to say a buzzsaw when they were without their best player in Clay. But just your thoughts on the energy and how the Knicks have been coming out for these games.
One thing I've noticed the difference between this year's team and last year's is a lack of a killer instinct with this group so far. I really, and it's early in the season, of course, but it just seemed like last year when we would get a team that was depleted, we would just step on their necks and punish them. And this year's group is kind of like they just play to the level of their competition, whatever that is, and so, it's almost like, oh, Luka's not here. We can just, waltz through this. And meanwhile, the Mavs, Jalen Brunson is there. They circle this game on their schedule. This is like their, Emirates Cup final, like every time, they listen to it. They know that they made a huge mistake. So they're out to prove, and Kyrie always loves to kill the Knicks too. So, we almost never beat Kyrie Irving. I don't remember the last time we had a win against a team where Kyrie Irving was actually on the court on the other side. It doesn't happen very often, unfortunately. And I just, I attribute that to a lack of being able to string stops together. Like, it's really hard to be a consistent team when you're so reliant on making shots because they're going to be tough. Look, we scored 114 points tonight, but 38 in the first half. You're not going to survive a 15-point quarter in the modern NBA. You're just not going to do it. I mean, you can't. It's too difficult, and man, it's just really frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else?
Queen, like a little sidebar. I'm sorry about this. The stuff starred is from it looks like it's from the previous show. No?
On that side, yes.
Yeah, on that.
Okay. Oh, no. I did that. I just did that today. This evening. These were in the chat tonight.
Oh.
You see the times on them, 10:14, 10.
I see 9:18, 9:17.
Really?
Yeah, that's from the other night.
I don't have that. I just have 3 start on my side.
Oh, for real? No, we got 20.
Yeah, I got 20 also.
Yeah, let me clean it
I only got 3. Now, don't take mine off now. The one that's the 10:14, 2 for 10:14, and 1 for 10:22.
10:14.
Double D, East Blue Drew. 2 from Double D and 1 from East Blue Drew.
Yeah, that's it.
They would probably be down at the bottom, though, right?
Yes, they're at the bottom.
They're at the bottom.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised that that's still there. For you guys, let's talk a little bit about OG. Well, let's get to the chat about this particular game. Then I want to transition to OG Anunoby. It would have been a better conversation before tonight, but I think this is good as well. You ready, AJ? Oh, you still clean?
Oh yeah, no, I'm still clean. You
Okay.
might as well. Yeah, we just
Why
keep
you
going.
clean?
We have
All
enough.
right. All right. Double D. The team will continue to struggle when they go up against a bigger, more physical team. Do you think that's where the Knicks struggles are? Because to me, that sounds more like an offensive struggle because teams are more physical.
Yeah,
And I see our issue as being more on the defensive end. Sure, we didn't shoot well coming out in that first half, but to Jeff's point, in the second half, we scored. I don't know how many did we score in the second half, Jeff?
76, I think.
76 points in the second half. And I'm not taking anything away from their defense, but a lot of those shots we just missed. OG missed the dunk. Towns missed a few chippies, layups, got fouled. The officials went every time Towns goes to the rack, he pretty much gets fouled. He doesn't get any calls, so he could just suck that up. Then there was a goaltend, but no excuses. My point is their defense played well for sure, but we missed a lot of shots. I think the biggest part of the game was they felt no resistance. No resistance. That to me, that was the game. Dinwiddie with 21 points, Grimes getting whatever he wants, Marshall, and I'm not taking anything away from these guys, but they're going to be better if they don't feel you. And they didn't feel the Knicks at all. You know, so I appreciate you, Double D. Anybody else want to comment on Double D's?
No, I agree with you. That was more of a defensive thing than an offense tonight. Even though we didn't shoot well.
He's right on with the comment, and we knew that. Like, we know we have a small team. Structurally, I mean, it's a structural problem. What are you gonna do? Even we gonna have that problem even when the other guys come back, even when Mitch and OG, even those guys are bigger, but we're still gonna have positions where he's very small compared to the other team because he's gonna play Josh Hart. He's gonna play, and when Josh Hart's on the floor, he's gonna have, maybe he's gonna play Josh Hart. He's gonna play Deuce McBride. Jalen Brunson's obviously a small guard. Campaign is a small guard. We still gonna have that problem.
But do you think, Ajay, that's the problem with the Knicks? Where does that rank in terms of the problems with the Knicks? Near the top, middle, not problems, concerns with the Knicks. Top, middle, toward the end.
Well, it's definitely not towards the end because it's an issue. I mean, structurally, the team is a little flawed. That doesn't mean we can't win, so you have to mitigate. You have to make up for that with a lot of effort and a lot of talent and a lot of skill, a lot of shooting, a lot of stuff that we don't do. We don't put in the effort defensively. We're small. It's tough to defend certain teams, and it's also tough to score against certain teams. I mean, Dallas played defense. The defense tonight wasn't amazing. It was good. But what added to it is the fact that those guys are much bigger than our guys. So they didn't have, I mean, they put in, they disrupted the plays a little bit, but it wasn't crazy defense where you don't look at Dallas and see like, oh, what a tremendous defensive team. No, they just were bigger than us. So they just put in a little effort and it was disruptive. We couldn't do anything.
Anybody else want to chime in as far as where the Knicks size to you ranks as a concern?
No, probably just in the middle for me. That's all.
Jeff?
I mean, I can see the point. Like, it would be really nice to have a guy who's 6'11" who could come in, and clog up and muck up the paint a little bit for 10 or 15 minutes. Mitchell Robinson, hello. But defense a team thing. It's not just one player. It's not just size. There are teams that are small that can play defense well. I just think our point of attack defense isn't very good. We get caught on screens quite a bit. We're just not on a string, and that takes time. You're incorporating two new players. One of them is not historically thought of as a good defender, and the other one is allegedly a good defender, but we haven't seen that much in Bridges. And maybe I'm being unfair, but yeah, I think it all starts at the point of attack. I mean, did we get killed more on points in the paint tonight, or did we get killed because we gave up tons of threes? Like I felt like we gave up a ton of wide open 3-pointers, and they hit them at like a 50% clip. I mean, they were good inside the arc too. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I think it was. Let me look right quick. And so
we was plus 4 points in the paint.
we were plus 4 points in the paint, and they had. We hit 7 threes, and they hit 17. You know, I'm no math wizard, but that seems to be the difference in the game right there. Yeah. You know, it seems like everywhere else we were at least playing them even, but you can't hemorrhage 30 points outside the arc and expect to win a game. I mean, I think it's a common theme in a lot of our losses. I think you saw it in the Cleveland game. You saw it in the Boston game. I think you probably, if you look at the Utah game, I bet the stats are similar, although I don't necessarily remember it per se. But, you know, yeah, it's so what comes first, the chicken or the egg? If in other words, if you're sticking to your guys on the perimeter and you're denying that, is that, you know, is that enough? And you would figure with guys like Bridges and OG, especially without Luka, that they should have been able to do that tonight, but they didn't.
Yeah, I don't. We are small in some matchups, but I don't really see that as a significant issue for the Knicks. I really don't. I feel like if you're small, you should be hitting every rotations, because if you're small, you should be able to move your feet and you should be able to move faster to get there for the closeouts. And that's not happening. If you told me the Knicks were there on their closeouts and people were shooting over them, we were getting out rebounded, people were just ripping rebounds over our head, they were taking us down in the post and just killing us in the post, I'd be like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I do think, you know, our lack of height is killing us. Sure, there might be a night or so when somebody might get a rebound or two over Josh Hart. There might be a time or two where somebody might shoot over McBride or Brunson, but I don't really see that as a big problem for the Knicks. And I could be wrong. I can definitely be wrong. I don't see that. It's not at the top of the list for me. Our defense is at the top of the list. I mean, this will become an issue more down the line, but Brunson is the only one really that can handle the ball, you know, and initiate offense. We have Hart doing it a little bit. That's something we lost with Randall, you know, in terms of having a secondary ball handler. We thought that would be Bridges. Apparently not. I don't know if it's because they think he's putting in so much energy chasing around the point guards that they also don't want to give him the responsibility of being a secondary ball handler. But I see that as more of an issue. I see us not having a big, you know, to play at times with Cat, at times behind Cat. I see that as a bigger issue, you know, than our height. You want to do Parrish Duggar before we get to the other ones?
Yeah, we could do that. Shout out to Parrish Duggar. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Parrish Duggar says it's so ridiculous Tibbs won't play two bigs against two big opponents. Brunson and Cat don't need 5-out offense to score at will. Play like Cleveland does.
But we're not Cleveland. Who's the two bigs? Who's the Mobley and
The
Jared Allen on this team? You know, I mean, sure, if you got two bigs of that caliber, yeah, play them. We don't. I mean, what you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, we have Jericho Sims. Jerrell, say, why are you laughing, Jerrell? Why you
And
muted?
shout out to
I said
Jericho for doing what he can do, but we can't play like Cleveland with Jericho Sims and Huck 40. It's just not that
have the
same
personnel.
caliber.
We don't have the personnel to do that.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Anyway.
I said no comment, actually. No comment.
Oh, okay.
No comment. Yeah, we don't have the personnel for that. We don't have the second big to do that yet. Like when Mitch comes back, we can have some sort of pseudo Cleveland duo, but they still won't be the same even in that. I don't think so. We'll see.
Listen. Cleveland is playing the way Cleveland plays because that's what matches their personnel. Boston is playing the way Boston plays because that's what matches their personnel. The Knicks have to figure out what's the best way for this team to play, because we're not Cleveland and we're not Boston. Right? We have to figure out how we're going to play. For me, in my opinion, the offense is fine. We got to figure out the defense. But yeah.
Queen, I'm starting to think we don't have the defenders to figure out a good defense. I mean, I'm just, Mikal Bridges is supposed to be this lockdown defender, and we haven't seen that yet this season.
But Mikal, I agree, but Mikal is just one person, one player. He's not the only one out there making mistakes and missing rotations. The Knicks are just not on a string.
But don't you
and
think
once it
that
goes
in
down,
time that'll happen, or you think it with this group of players it can't happen? Because I feel like
question of the day, Jeff.
that's something that you're going to have to build over the course of a season. That's not something you can do in 15 or 20 games, where you can just, like team defense takes a while to get right, and so I feel like,
Jeff.
I feel like in time. Hopefully it'll get better, but if you want to look at it, Mikal Bridges is posting his worst defensive rating of his career at 119. So, I'm not sure what the issue there is, but he's not the only problem, but he's a big problem.
Yeah. Listen, we know it won't. 20 games, and I think that was Jerrell's threshold, 20 game, but it can't take 50 games either to figure out a defense, because you lose, the season's over. But it's not just
our players back though, right? In all fairness, we gotta have a full.
Yeah. But Queen, there are other things. So with the defense also, right? Notice Deuce McBride is not as good. He's not playing as good defense as he played in the past. I mean,
you better duck, Ajay. You better duck.
You better coming, right?
The tomatoes.
We just lost Wiz. Thanks a lot, Ajay.
No,
Wiz
but
he hasn't and removed his like from the.
We minus one like. No, Deuce is a much better defender than he's shown this season.
True.
We're asking more of him too. We're asking more of him as well.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, Paris.
But then again, his minutes are not that extended.
I'm about to say, you said we more of him to do what exactly? Because he don't score that much either. Like, I don't know what he's just not playing well. Like he's not playing.
But he's our number one scorer off the bench now. Before he was injured, I think it was 10 or 12 points a game.
I'm not sure before he got
is he our best scorer off the bench? His campaign, I don't know what they scoring off the bench.
No, Deuce McBride was leading us in scoring off the bench prior to the injury. I think campaign stepped up when he was out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's room for both of them. It's not like we
lighten it up.
We need both of them.
Direction, so it's kind of like being the best of the Jets and the Giants. It's not saying a whole lot. They're one team may be better than the other, but they're both pretty trash.
Right.
JJ said Wiz just unsubscribed.
No, Wiz, come back, Wiz. We was just joking.
Yeah, I've noticed that, but again, it's a team thing. If we think that one player is just going to hold it, like there's screens, there's so many things to get a player free. It has to be a team effort. It has to be, you got to be on point with your rotations. It's not like you're going to put McBride on the island or other than OG. Other than OG, these other guys, you can't just put them on the island. You really need team defense.
Queen, there's a couple other ones I want to go through real
Yeah,
quick.
absolutely.
He's
Sure.
Blue Drew. I think you start that one. Defense wins championships. That sounds good, but you also need to put the ball in the hole. You can't go out there and start and throw 5 defenders out there and no guys can score. That's not our issue, but you need a good balance of offense and defense in order to win championship. Offense, defense, and IQ also, basketball IQ, in order to win a championship. So yeah, that is part of it, but that can't just be it.
I agree. I think in the 90s that was more so more so true. I think now you do need to have a good solid defense,
Mm-hmm.
but the way these offenses are in the NBA during this era, you ain't holding there's only so much your defense is going to be able to do if you can't also score the ball. Yeah.
Right.
I do think if we could get another 15 or 20 minutes injected into the rotation of solid play, whether it be from Deuce, I mean, not Deuce, whether it be from Achua or Robinson, I think that helps the entire team on both ends of the floor. I think you have better rested group, you have more balance, you have a lot of different things that you can do that again, I think it just helps. In other words, if you're only playing OG 31 minutes instead of 36, I'm using as an example. I don't know how many minutes he's actually playing, but if you can buy him a little bit more rest and he's a little bit fresher, I think you'll benefit from that too. I mean, we're really playing 7.5 guys. That's especially on a long road trip. And remember, this is game 4 of the road trip now. When you play a short rotation like that, sometimes it does come back to bite you.
Yeah, for sure.
Another one from Double D. Queen, this is supposed to be the year. We can't start off the season hyped about our opportunity and then change 25 games in on our expectation of how far we can go this year.
Well, I never had the expectations that the Knicks would win a championship in year 1 of putting this team together.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. Is it likely? Is that what usually happens when you put a team together in year 1? No, it's not. I'm not saying they can't do it.
Not likely.
If they did, great. But I'm not a championship or bust. That's not my how I'm looking at this team this year. There's levels to this, and I said it in the beginning. Everybody was all hype when we signed the paper, and I said, listen, this is on paper, but you got to pop up like the pop-up books. The little pop-up books we used to have back then. It's one thing to be a good team on paper. It's another thing to actually enact it and be good on the court, right? And it's another thing to win a championship. Like, there's levels to this. Look at Milwaukee and Boston and all these teams, how many times they had to go deep into the playoffs, even to the finals, before they actually won it. And the Knicks are just going to, in one off season, bring in 2 new players, bring in Cat right before training camp, and we're going to win a championship. We might, don't get me wrong, we might. But for those who would be super disappointed if we didn't, that's not me, I would say.
Well, and I think also the vision of this team as a championship contender included Robinson and Achua, didn't it? I mean, they may not have been major pieces, but your role players count toward your championship identity. And for all of the hand wringing and the sky falling, we're still 10-8, guys. I mean, like, that's not a bad start to the season at all. And we just went 2-2 on this road trip. And, I mean, and now we've got another cup game coming, I guess, on Friday against Charlotte. That's, we'll see how we do there. But the Knicks have tended to play better in those cup games. We tend to play up. And so hopefully we'll get a good performance there. But look, 10-8 would we like to be better? Sure. But, I think from the context of what we've been through from the start of the season, I think we're off to a pretty good start.
Geoff, it's very nice of you to put it to put a positive spin on it. But 10-8, if we continue like this for the rest of the season, we're going to win 40 games. All right. And by anybody's account, we win 40 games this season. Season's a failure.
But you can't. But we're not going to continue like this.
No, I listen.
You can't just go by the first 18 games and extrapolate.
I'm just saying. It's not. It's not a terrible start, but it's not. You can't be. Yeah, you could. Like I said, it's nice to put a positive spin on it, but listen, we're not going to continue like this, but it could go south too. Like, you don't know how it's going to go. It could go either way.
Yeah, but I can't deal with that. I can only deal with where we're at right now. Yeah. When we get to 40 wins, if you're going by your example, then we're at 32 losses. 40 and 32 is not horrendous. It's maybe not where we wanted to be, but I think you can make the argument in an Eastern Conference where, the Cavs and Celtics are kind of running away with it and everybody else is kind of in the middle at 500. And you're not really considering those last 10 games either. So that really puts it up to 46 if we're going to use your example, which is a little bit lower than maybe 45 if you want to say. That's fine. I'll concede the point. But my point is we're not that far away from where we want to be. Everybody I think was in the 50-win club, maybe a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But again, we were about 10-8 last year, and we won 50 games. So, I just think for what we've gone through and what we've seen, this could be a lot worse. And I just have a feeling that it's going to get a lot better. And I'm, me, I'm wrong more than anybody on this panel. So I could eat those words. I hope not, because if I do, it's going to be a long season. But, I don't think the Knicks have played their best basketball yet by any stretch of the imagination. And we're 10-8. So I'm going to take that. Would you rather be the Philadelphia 76ers right now?
That's
Lord, no.
Disaster. Yeah.
But I agree with Geoff. Well, I think this is definitely our floor, not anywhere near our ceiling. Like, I don't think we're going to be any worse than we are right now. So by that standard, like, we're going to play better, just like we do every year under Tibbs. We have the same conversation every year around the same time. And I remember those conversations. We always be back down on the team around this time. We'll be hovering around 500 or maybe a little under. Then all of a sudden in the second half, we start winning games because a lot of other teams, are wearing down, and we usually get stronger in the second half. I expect that to happen this year too.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, honestly, the record count, don't get me wrong. I'm more focused on the Knicks process. I'm more focused on how's our offense coming together? How's our defense coming together? How are we playing together? What's our mentality like? Like those sorts of things. You can win 50 games and lose in the first round. So I'm not, obviously I do want a good seeding. And that, to me, that's what the winning is about. Whether it's 48 wins, 52 wins, I don't care. It's the seeding that I'm, that I would like the Knicks to get a good seed. But here in these early part of the season, I'm just focusing on, are we getting better day by, game by game? What are we struggling with consistently? How are we going to fix that? Is that something that could be fixed? I think it was I don't know who asked. It might have been Geoff. Can we even play defense with this team, or are we going to need roster changes? You know, is it going to be just Precious and Mitch coming back, or are we going to have to regroup in the summertime? Like, these are all of the things I'm looking at as we go through the course of the season, because I'm thinking long term. How do we win a chip? What do we need to win a chip? All right, this is what we have now. It's looking all right, but we might need this, and the other. To me, it's too early to be like, I don't know, we're going to win 40 games, or, you know, this, you know, I don't think this is the team we're going to be, put it that way, by the end of the season. So I'm not stressing. I want the defense to get better, but this is not going to be us toward the end of the season, playing this type of defense for the entire season. I just don't see it.
Well, I thought you meant we were going to look different. You kind of scared me. Like, you think there's going to be a move or something? Like, what you trying to say?
I don't know if they'll. Well, yeah, there might be.
I think there'll be a move.
If they deem that this is not going to work, I think that's why they've been diligent about staying under the second apron.
Well, they have to. They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
It's not like it's an option to go over it. With the moves they made, they literally cannot, move over the second apron. But your point remains the same. They constructed it in such a way where they would be under the second apron with that in mind, because they could have done it where they went over it if they had chosen to. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. They can have that flexibility to do something.
Do a couple more.
Yeah, Wiz put up one. If you could do his.
Shout out to Wiz. Welcome back, Wiz. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. You see the removed, unsubscribed, looking for AJ.
Gave us $2 and bounced.
Yo, make sure you hit that like button, Wiz. Re-hit it. All right.
Re-hit it.
Was that the last one?
No, there's a couple more real quick. So Ivy 10, shout out to Ivy 10, says they play good defense on OG tonight. They made him put the ball on the floor, and that really impacted him, because a couple of times he was all twisted up, he fell, the ball, he lost control a few times. Not that he can't put the ball on the floor, because we've seen him do that, but for some reason tonight, when he puts the ball on the floor and then you got people swiping, he loses control. So that happened 3 times tonight.
Yeah. Let's stay on OG before we move to the other comments, if you don't mind. Go ahead, Jerrell.
I was just gonna say, I'd rather him not have to put the ball on the floor, though. Like, if anything is OG's kryptonite, is defense that will have him dribbling the ball. I don't want him dribbling. That's it.
Was it just a bad night from OG? I mean, just thinking about what we've seen so far this season, including the 40 spicy piece against Denver. Is this just a bad game for him, or are you feeling like, all right, the clock then struck 12?
No,
good run, and
no, I think OG is still good. I just think he just had a bad game, but I do think he doesn't have a handle. I don't want him dribbling the ball. I think he's better, scoring without having to do stuff like that. Like, once he's, have the ball in his hand and he has to be a shot creator, that's not his strong suit. He can score, but he's not a scorer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I've seen some things this season, Jerrell. Now, I don't know how
he's
well
better.
Continue.
He's
I've
gotten better.
seen him take 2 dribbles, into the key, like he's going to the right, and then do a step back, pull up. All of that being said, I agree with you. He's not somebody I would want to put on an island against a defender and say, "Go get me a bucket." I don't really see him like that.
Right.
But he surprised me with
Queen.
He's definitely got
shots he's taken.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten better this season with that.
He's gotten more aggressive. But you said it, Queen. He said you seen him take 2 dribbles, but that's the limit. anything more than 2 dribbles, it's a problem.
Yeah, nothing over 2 dribbles. 3 at the most.
Nothing. Yeah, like in the 3 at the most, like the third one, that's the lift off the dunk.
Right.
Because you know,
if we see OG at the top of the key trying to get saucy, that's not. You know, that's not on a consistent basis. Not saying that he can't never make a shot like that, but that's not his game. He's never played that way before.
Do you think OG's success is due to when Brunson and Cat had good games? I mean, they provide spacing, and OG probably more than any other person on the team other than Brunson and Towns, in my opinion, has really taken advantage of the space that's in the key. It wasn't a lot of it today, though.
Right.
It wasn't a lot of it today because of their defensive scheme. So I guess my question is, do you see him as a third option? Do you think he's limited offensively to, yes, he can take advantage if there's a lot of space, but if not, if it's cluttered, it's not really his game. Just your thoughts on OG.
Yeah, I don't expect him to be like that. I actually thought Bridges was going to be our third option, but he's just having a disappointing season this season. I think OG's pretty much been thrusted into that role because of that. Like, I didn't expect him to be the third option when this season started. Like, I just think he's taking advantage, like you said, but I don't expect him to be a scorer every night.
If we would have had this show last night,
you would have got on me.
No. We would have been talking about how OG Anunoby is the third option on this team. Well,
maybe now, but I'm just talking about like his expectation when the season started. I didn't think of him that way. That's all. But now, since Bridges, he stepped up in like Bridges' absence to me. Like, I expected Bridges to be the third option by far, and he hasn't been. And OG has definitely stepped up. Like, he's gotten a lot better than me.
I don't know OG if he has the skill set to be the third option though, but that's who he is right now, in my opinion. Jeff, your thoughts on it?
Here's a guy whose effective field goal percentage for the season is 61%. We just happened to have him at the game where he went 3 for 15.
Right.
So, like, small sample sizes are the enemy, right?
Exactly.
So he went 16 for 23 against Denver and 3 for 15 against Dallas. So that's what 19 of 38 or something like this. Like, he's still shooting around 50% over his last two. And the other thing is when you're thrust into a role, like was never a guy taking about 15 shots a game before. So the more shots that you take, the higher the probability you're going to have a game like this every once in a while. Because even Jalen Brunson, even the very best, even Karl-Anthony Towns, every shooter is going to go through games like this. Now, if he's doing it 7, 10, 12 games in a row, then we have a problem. But as a one-off, the night after he had one of the epic performances, 40 points on 23 shots. I mean, we know he's not that, and we know he's not this either. So, but let me ask you this question. If he's putting up 19, 5, and 5 at the All-Star break, do you consider him in the conversation for an All-Star spot? I do.
That's not even a question, considering his defense. Did you get a chance to see KFC's breakdown of OG's game against KFC?
I wish.
Project
KFS.
Was that the one with the wedges stuff? Like, what you doing?
Was that the $5 ball?
Sanders.
Was the
Breaking it down for you.
Or the extra crispy joint.
19, 5, and 2, not 19, 5, and 5, by the way. I don't want to inflate his numbers, but
yeah. KFS did I think it's Benji. What's Benji's last name? Jeff, what's Benji's last name for Knicks Film School?
Sanders, as in
Benji Ritholtz.
Yes,
Ritholtz.
Benji Ritholtz. He did a breakdown of OG Anunoby's game. Some of his, about 10 or 12 of his possessions against Denver. Some mostly defense, some offense.
So basically, he ruined it for us because Dallas watched that and they knew how to shut him down.
Right.
That's what we can take from that. So it's Benji's fault.
Right. If he's 19-5-5 and he's doing what he's doing, continues to do what he's doing on the defensive end, it's not even a question. Like some of those clips, first of all, we don't have to worry about his hamstring because he's out there doing lunges, getting through screens and getting skinny and stretching out. And while he's out there doing calisthenics, we don't have to worry about OG Anunoby's hamstring. It's fine. If you see some of, the ways that he's positioning himself on defense. Yeah, I think
it depends.
Tonight, every time he hit the floor tonight, I'm like, oh,
yeah, I'm like, you have way more. I'm still nervous about
every time he took that third dribble and he ended up on the floor. I was like, oh no, OG, easy now.
Well, he was just falling down.
Right. Every time he hit the floor, I get nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I get nervous. But I think when it comes to the All-Star question, I think it just depends. Because it's a lot of talented wings in the East. It depends on our record. Like as much as we hate to admit it, like the team success means a lot when it comes to the All-Star. So if we hovering around 500, he's not gonna be no All-Star scoring 19 points a game. I don't think so. Not saying that he wouldn't deserve it.
Right.
I'm saying will he get voted in? I don't think so.
Yeah. Because you would think, you would think Brunson in town, that means getting 3.
Yeah, exactly. That means getting 3 All-Stars. That's not going to happen on a 500 team, I don't think. No.
Agreed.
Yeah. To be honest, it shouldn't.
Yeah,
for sure.
You gotta take the Knicks hat off for a second. No 500 team should get 3 All-Stars just because one of them plays good defense. Like that's not going to. The defender is the one that's probably not going to be the All-Star. Like we gotta think about what we're talking about here.
But it's not just the defense, though. I agree with you. If we're not in the top 1 or 2, you're not getting 3. Period.
Right.
Point blank. It's just not happening.
Right.
But I think OG has proven to be more than a defensive player at this point. Like, if to Jeff's point, if he's 19-5-5 and playing stellar, like his defense is top. Like he's blowing up plays.
That is true. That's true. He would definitely have an argument. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't. I'm not saying that he wouldn't deserve it, but I'm just saying it'd be hard to vote him in. Just scoring 19 on a team that's like hovering around 500. That'd be tough.
Yeah. What's the ceiling for OG offensively, you think? Is he playing way above his head, or and he's pretty much going to land probably kind of where he was last season, or you think like this is legit, like this is OG?
So can I ask a question? And that's to answer your question. What was his career-wise? How much does he average? How many points does he average?
12.
Yeah, it wasn't that high. It's not that high. No, if that's what
it's not.
I have it right here.
That's all 12 points
for his career. Yes, ma'am.
He score at all. Like he's never been a scorer. That's why I never had high expectations for him.
Well, he's much better this year because this year he's at 19 points this year.
He averaged 14.1 last year. So just so you and over the last 5 years or so, 14 or 15 is right about his level. So in the first couple years in the league, he didn't hardly do much at all on that end of the court. But he's typically the last 4 or 5 years been about 14, 15 points a game guy. So 19 is definitely a step up for him and a large one.
Well, 2021 it was 16. 21-22 it was 17. 22-23 it was 17.
Look at those games played.
23-24 was 40. Right.
Oh, that's
like he only played 43 games in one of those seasons.
But he still averaged. The year in which he averaged 17, it was 48 games. The year in which he averaged 17, which was 16.8, that was 67 games. And then 14, 15. So other than his first 3 years, it's been between 14 and 16. 14 to 16 points.
Yeah.
And then last year it was 19. You know, it's 12 for his career, but his first year he averaged 6 points. His second year he averaged 7 points. So that kind of brings the average down. But I think more than points scored is he's assertive this year. His game has gotten better. His bag has gotten a little a little deeper. It's not just, I don't have his shot chart in front of me, but it's not like he's getting all his shots off of corner threes. Like he's mixing it up. Yeah, he's been impressive.
He's shooting the best in his career from three this year too so far. I mean, it's a small sample size, but 42% is 42%. Like that's can't argue with that.
And to break it up, Jerrell, to your point, he's shooting over 40% in the corners and above the break. 40% in each, 40 plus in each area. And I forgot what he's shooting in the mid range. I actually had
yeah, I don't have mid range specifically. I just got his 2-pointers is at 60.
Yeah. I pulled his stuff up, him and McBridge, and what's his name? Bridges.
Queen's having a night tonight.
Getting late.
Between KFC and McBridge and
he just needs a famous bowl. That's all.
Right. He's at the rim. He's shooting 40%, which is the 75th percentile for his position. And in the long mid range, is this? Oh, this is frequency. I'm sorry. I'm like, what? This is frequency. Let me get accurate.
Get late,
I'm having a night.
Get late.
Oh, here we go. Accuracy. All threes, 43% and 80th percentile.
Nice.
Non-quarter threes, 43%, 88th percentile. At the rim, 70%, that's the 63rd percentile for his position.
But his free throw rate is is the highest of his career. It's at .203 free throw rate. So that just speaks to his aggressiveness. I think his highest in that category before this year was 1.189. So you're talking about a big jump in drawing fouls, and that speaks to his aggressiveness. He's making more field goals than he ever has. He's at 7.1 makes per game, and on a decent volume, 13 attempts or so. His effective field goal percentage is really high. And again, I think that's a function of, he's treated like the fourth option most nights, and he's better than a fourth option player. If you're going to leave him alone from beyond the arc, he can make you pay. If you're going to ignore him in transition, he's going to get to the rim and finish it. The Knicks have done a lot of smart things to get him the ball and in positions where he can score well. And so, I'm very encouraged by Anunoby's performance. But again, 18 games, we still got 3/4 of the season to go.
But he's a third option. He doesn't have to be Tatum, right? If you look at the third, who's the third option on Boston? Is it White? KP?
White.
Pick a day.
Pick a day.
Holiday.
Holiday.
Hartford.
Yeah, who's the third option on Cleveland? I mean, for third option, OG Anunoby, he doesn't have to be a 20-point scorer to be a really, really good third option for the Knicks.
That's what makes us so dangerous, because he was supposed to be the fourth. So imagine if the one that was supposed to be the third actually acted like a third.
Right.
That makes us really dangerous.
And quite as it kept, if it wasn't for OG Anunoby filling in for what many of us thought was Bridges' role, where would we be right now?
Right. True. I don't have his numbers on finishing though. Stuff you said one of his numbers on finishing was in the 60-something percentile
At the rim,
at the rim.
Yeah, he's 70% at the rim, which seems great in a vacuum. But for his position, that's in the 63rd percentile.
I was just gonna say from the eye test, it seemed like this year OG's been, putting the ball up even stronger than he has in the past to me. Like he's been looking pretty good around the rim.
His frequency, actually his frequency at the rim is down. He's taking 40% of his shots at the rim, and last year in New York, he took 43% at the rim, and in Toronto, just 33% at the rim. But his shot diet is 41% from three, 19% from the mid-range, all mid-range, short and long. And I'm getting this from Cleaning the Glass. And 40% at the rim. 40% at the rim, 41%. Yeah, and then in the mid-range, he's just taking 20% of his shot. Seems to me he's always in there, though.
Right.
It seems like he's always in the key to me, but yeah, just 20%.
So he really is but he really is a 3-and-D guy.
Is Mikal Bridges really leading the NBA in minutes?
I can believe that, to be honest. Like from the top of my head, I don't know.
38.1 per game.
I could believe that. Like he does play a lot.
Yeah.
What he doing out there, I don't know sometimes.
I mean, I'm looking at his accuracy from the 3-point line. He's 31%.
Career low.
Come on, Steph.
20th percentile. And on the non-corner threes, he's 18%, which is in the 0 percentile.
Yeah, okay, Steph. Can we end the show on a good note? Can we talk about something? I'm supposed to go to sleep after that.
However, that
he's gonna wake up in a sweat thinking about Mikal Bridges from above the break.
I'll be sitting here trying to break down game tape of Mikal Bridges at like 3:00 in the morning.
In the mid-range, though, he killing it. 90% percentile from the mid-range, 56% all mid, 48% long mid, 58% short mid. That is money in the bank. In the key.
And yes, Geoff, he is leading the league in minutes right now. 38.1. Yep.
I mean, the thing with Bridges, I feel like some of it is mental. Because you see him, and Lady in the Chef, shout out to Lady in the Chef from Two Knicks Chicks. She pointed this out too. If he missed a shot, you could tell on his face, he's like, if somebody gets past him and scores, he's like, he's in his head right now, it seems to me. Taking things, obviously I'm pretty sure he's hearing the rumblings from the fan, or it's maybe it's his own expectations.
He watches the show.
I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself.
I think he's putting a lot of pressure on himself.
Because out of all the guys that got here, he's the one who really wanted to be a Knick when he got drafted.
Yeah.
And we passed him over. So like he's always like playing in our building. He's already said that multiple times. Like he really is excited about being a Knick, and I think he's putting the pressure on himself.
Yeah.
It's all mental to me. Like it's 100% mental. There's nothing physically wrong with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah. Unless there's something going on in his personal life, right?
Right.
But other than that, he changed the form on his shot in the offseason too. I'm wondering if he just needs to go back to what he was doing before, because he's never shot this bad. His volume of attempts is the same, and I don't know, that shot just doesn't look right to me.
It looked right on the mid-range, though.
Yeah. But specifically on his 3-point shot, I think he's got like a little hitch in it or something. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe y'all can look at it, but it just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, he did change it. It was a whole story about that. He changed it a little bit. You're right.
Somebody, I didn't even put the number up. Somebody called in, so I wasn't connected. I didn't have the phone connected. So whoever called, if you want to call back, we'll take a few calls before we
before we get out of here, but we
Before
do have one more super chat
Oh,
from
okay.
Parish Dogger. And again, Parish, thank you for the $5 super chat. I would trade Bridges. He has no basketball savvy instincts, and his foot speed is gone on D. And he doesn't fight over picks. He doesn't see his man and the ball.
He's definitely struggling on defense. I wouldn't. I don't know if basketball savvy is the same as basketball IQ. I don't have any doubts about his basketball IQ, but yeah, defensively, he doesn't look good. He just doesn't.
It can't be instincts because he's had them before. Like you don't really.
He's like second in defensive play of the year. Once,
Yeah, like it can't be instincts.
like he just got dumb overnight. Like he was one of the best defenders in the league in 2021, 2022.
And do you just lose that?
Some people have. I mean, it's possible. To be honest, it's possible. But I'm talking about like foot speed and stuff like that. I don't think you lose instincts in basketball IQ.
Right. You might not be able to get there. You'd be like,
Right.
oh, I know I should have been there, but physically you can't.
Right. But a lot, I mean, to Paris credit to his point, sometimes it does look like he's a little slower, but that could be mental too. That's not all physical too. That could be mental, you know, him not being confident in his movements when it comes to their defense.
He's just getting beat too bad. Like, I mean,
Jerrell, how do you
Jamal Murray is just blowing by him. He's closing out in such a way, like he's closing out so hard. They just go right by. Like, I don't get it. Like, some of it is just like fundamentals. Like, sometimes the fundamentals are not there. Ajay, you was gonna say something?
I was gonna say, like, how do you lose that though, Jerrell? Like, you know, you talk about his confidence. Like, he's been in the league. Like, how do you all of a sudden lose your confidence?
Honestly, professional athletes lose their confidence all the time, Ajay, in every sport. They're human. Like, you can lose your confidence. Instincts and stuff is a different story, but your confidence, yeah, if you don't know something, you'll lose your confidence no matter how good you are at the sport.
But he knows this though.
He might not. I'm talking about the type of defense and the scheme and what they want to do for the Knicks. Like, this is his first time playing with Tibbs and his scheme, and it's only been 17 games. It's not second nature to him like it could be second nature to like Josh Hart. Like, everybody's different.
Right. Yeah, it's looking really bad though. It's looking.
It does.
Some like the closeouts, the getting beat off the dribble. Like, some of it is just like.
Right. I'm not giving him no type of excuses. It's been
Yeah.
It's just I'm just saying stuff like that happens. That's all.
Yeah.
But there's no excuses. He's been definitely very disappointing, especially for me. I had big, I was talking big stuff with Mikal Bridges at the beginning of the season. It's been 17 games. It's been making me look like a fool. I don't like it.
Yeah, but it's something is off. I don't think it's physical. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
You don't forget how to close out, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't. I'm not.
We're not gonna. We're not giving up on him. That's for sure.
No.
We're not gonna call the dead. Say, listen, let's rethink this trade here. Something.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy low on my fantasy team because I just think he's gonna rebound. Trying to see if I can find somebody that I could trade for him. Yeah. Sherwin said it's Cat, not Bridges. Listen.
We talk about Bridges' defense specifically, though. Like,
yeah. Listen. We already know Cat's defensive woes, Sherwin. We get it. But you're not going to sit here and tell me. And I get what you said. He's double picked and Cat is not there. Yeah. Okay. All right. But Cat has nothing to do with him running to close out and the person blowing right past him. That's not Cat. That's Bridges. Now, if you want to say Cat's not there once they do blow by him to protect the rim, that's fair. But that has nothing to do with Cat. His screen navigation is terrible. I don't care if it's a double pick or a triple pick. His screen navigation is not good. Jamal Murray should not be, blowing by you when you go and you set. It's not even a closeout. You are set in front of Jamal Murray and he takes one dribble and he's by you. That has nothing to do with Cat. All right. So sure, I get it. There might be some instances where Cat is not there in rotation and Cat is not there in help. I get it. But everything we're seeing from Bridges is not Cat. It's Bridges, and he has to get it together. Any thoughts on that?
I agree.
The bad part is the position that he's guarding too. Like he's guarding the point guard, so like he is the point of attack on defense every single play. So like him getting blown by, it just breaks everything down.
Sherman, I agree with you. Cat has to step up when he gets the double pick. I agree. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is that's not the only issue with Mikal Bridges is double picks. If you watch the game, you're not going to sit here and tell me the issue with Bridges is just double picks. He's getting that's a team thing. You getting double picked and that somebody doesn't come over and rotate. I get it. I'm not arguing that. But it's more to Bridges' defense or lack thereof than double picks. Hey, he's just not there. Something is off. And hopefully, I think without Bridges it's going to be hard for us to go far.
Right.
Bridges defensively, I should say. It's gonna be hard.
And I say offensively too. To go as far as we want to go, like he has to be better on offense too. Yeah, he has to be better, period. Like on both sides. Right. I think he would have to be unless OG really steps up consistently for like the whole entire season instead for the short sample size that he has. Like if he's going to score like over like 20 points a game all season, then yeah, maybe he could slip to the fourth option and play really, really well. But he still has to play better regardless in order for us to get like to the championship level.
No doubt. East Blue Drew says Mikal off the bench playing with Payne may help him get his shot back. I mean, what do you think?
Unit too, though.
Say that again.
That's why his minutes are so high.
Yeah, right. He needs to stop playing with. You need to stop playing with Campaign. You need to sit down and stay down while Campaign is out there playing, or somebody else.
Maybe you put. You can't take him off the point of attack because who you going to put there? Brunson,
right?
You're going to put OG, so now OG is guarding everybody. Or you bring McBride into the starting lineup, and so he can guard the point of attack. And he's better than Bridges. He's not as great as he used to be, but he's definitely better than Bridges. And bring Hart off the bench.
I can see that, but for some reason, I don't like Deuce starting, and I don't know. Like I can't put my finger on why. I don't know. Like it doesn't look right or something. It doesn't look right with him.
Well, the backcourt's real small. I think that's a concern. I mean, you're talking 6'2", 6'2". Even if Bridges is guarding the point of attack, it means Brunson, and again, we don't have any rim protectors, so you get guys who can, it is definitely a smaller unit when you're starting with Deuce. So I can see the trepidation there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the reason or not, but
yeah, but I don't know if I'm not saying that it definitely wouldn't work either. Like I'd be more concerned with him starting consistently and just, exclusively just Josh Hart coming off the bench for, instead of Deuce.
I think though, Deuce is part of the units that has some of the best differential on the team.
Okay.
Let me see. Small sample sizes though. Brunson, Hart, McBride, Anunoby, and Sims. What is that? Oh, sorry. That's negative 7.7. Brunson, McBride, Bridges, Anunoby, and Sims is plus 31. That lineup. Again, only 85 possessions. Brunson, McBride, but both of these lineups is Brunson and McBride. Brunson, McBride, Hart, Anunoby, and Towns plus 30. Only 70 possessions.
And that depends on what the matchups are. Like, there's too many variables.
Too many other, other variables. But for the time that they've been out there, Brunson and McBride. Now, this says nothing about what the rebounding is, but in terms of defense, offense, that Brunson and McBride in these small sample size, the team has been okay.
Well, if that is the change and Tom Thibodeau goes with that and it helps our defense, even if it does take away from our offense a little bit, especially coming off the bench, because we actually view Deuce McBride as a scorer off our bench too. Not just, even though we don't have a lot of scoring off our bench, like I don't expect Josh Hart to be coming off the bench, just being a bench scorer now. Like, I expect Josh Hart to just play like Josh Hart, regardless if he comes off the bench or not. So who's the scorer coming off the bench then?
Well, in that first lineup, it would be Hart. In that second lineup, it would be Bridges, because Hart was in that lineup. So Bridges would be. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying that the Brunson McBride pairing in that small sample size hasn't been terrible.
Okay.
With a larger sample size, it might be something else.
Hey man, if it fixes our defense, I'm all for it.
Yeah. All right.
I actually think Payne hasn't done a terrible job at the point of attack in the minutes that he gets. I've seen some pretty aggressive defensive play from him. Maybe it's just a couple possessions that are standing out in my mind, and the stats might not back that up. But I actually have liked Campaign, the acquisition of Campaign, and it just in general, I think he's been a good add for this team overall. Really good bench player, and we don't have very many of those.
Me too.
Him, McBride, Hart, Bridges, and Towns plus 25. Again, only 68 possessions. So small sample size.
Wait, you said can you say that 5 again?
Sure. Cam, Payne, McBride, Josh Hart, and Bridges, and Karl Anthony Towns.
So Bridges is like playing the 4, or
no,
Hart. Right. You're right. Yeah, okay. Talk about a small team. Like, who was we playing when they was on the floor?
I think we have a caller.
Okay.
Oh. Uh-oh. We not connected? I don't hear anything. What happened? It hung up on him? He'll call back.
Yeah, call back.
Yeah. Give us a call back, Lord Scientist. 5 3-minute calls. All right, he'll call back. East Blue Drew said he wants to call. I would love to hear from you, East Blue.
He said he at work, man. Get that money though.
Yeah. Anybody who wants to
He said star 69.
He's Blue Drew.
I ain't heard that in a minute.
Actually, let me see. Yeah, actually, we can call him back.
Okay.
Nice.
But it's not. It says it's connected, but it's not connected.
Yeah, because I don't hear. I do hear it, but it's low. I hear it ringing.
Yeah, one second. I'm good. I'm trying to get you on the speaker. All right. Can you hear me? Oh boy. Hello? Hello? I got all the volume. I got the volume up.
Man.
I don't know.
The basketball guy's not letting Lord Scientist get his bars off.
Yeah, we're not rocking today.
I don't like that.
Come on.
I don't like that.
And we are connected. Let me see. Maybe it's
I did hear him at one point, and I heard the phone ring, but it was low.
I don't know. I got all of the buttons. The buttons up. I don't know. And it says it's going through. Should be going through to the mic. Let me disconnect it and reconnect it.
Yeah, that might be it.
Anyway, any last words? I don't know, maybe.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Be safe, eat great food, have a good time with your family. And thank y'all for everybody who's after a tough loss. Y'all still rocking with us on a makeshift show on a Wednesday night before a holiday. Pretty awesome that everybody came through tonight.
Word. Salute everybody in the chat.
Yeah, definitely. Nick Yak, Knicks 100, a GM, East Blue Drew, Sherwin, Wiz, JJ. Yeah. Donald D, Sharon Cloud. I think Bridges should stop shooting threes and get his defensive fundamentals in order.
And our offense can he not shoot threes?
I think you have to
Yeah,
shoot.
you gotta shoot them, right?
You gotta take them in the flow of the offense. You gotta trust your process and just know that at some point they're gonna fall. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. Which Geoff, Ajay, what do you think? He should stop, continue?
Gotta shoot. I mean, you gotta think it. These numbers are an anomaly. I mean, his whole career he's been a better shooter than this. So, you know, I don't think the answer is to stop shooting. You just help the defense. If you're not a threat, then they don't guard you at all. So you got, and inside the arc, he's been pretty good, but there's definitely something wrong with his shot because even his free throw numbers, his free throw percentages are like less than 70%, which is really weird because he's like an 80-something% shooter from out there in his career at the line. And you typically don't forget how to shoot free throws. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
you
not.
Don't. If anything, that's the one thing that doesn't leave you. You could be 40 years old and still shoot 90% from the free throw line if you're a 90% free throw shooter.
Right.
And he's 84.4% for his career, and he's at like 63 or something like that so far as a Knick. And so that just, I don't know, that doesn't compute to me.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
You're absolutely right. He's getting there way less, and he doesn't. Maybe the way less part is the reason because he doesn't have that many attempts. He doesn't even attempt one per game. That's weird too because usually he he's pretty good at that. And I did not notice that he's shooting 63%. You're absolutely right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I can't tell him not to shoot though. We tell Josh Hart to shoot. We can't tell Mikal Bridges not to shoot when we're telling Josh Hart to shoot. So that can't happen.
Yeah.
You gotta shoot.
Sorry,
I
Lord.
hope we look back in 2 months and this whole Bridges conversation is a thing of the distant past and we're all happy with the trade. Right. That's what I'm praying at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, to me, I feel like it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
It's just a matter of time. Lord Scientist, I'm sorry for whatever reason. It says it's hooked up.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not coming through.
Salute the Lord Scientists for making an attempt.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate that. Anything else? Any other?
Queen, you want to go over the schedule? Because I think so. Obviously, there's no show tomorrow. Next week, I think we play on Thursday.
Do we?
Yeah. So, do we want to go Wednesday? The Knicks play Wednesday? No, they play Thursday.
They play Thursday.
Do we want to go Wednesday?
Yeah. Okay.
Should be fine.
Wednesday's not a good day for me, but don't hold up the show on my account.
I'm free Thursday or Friday for me because we don't play Friday either. Either or.
Yeah, Friday. Friday might work.
It's up to you, Steph. We could play it by ear. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll know by Monday.
Okay.
And I may just have to be Aj and come in late on Wednesday because as soon as I get home from services, I can be on. But I may have to make the special announcement come in with trumpets blaring like Aj did.
That's right,
man.
Bust through the door.
Kool-Aid, man.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. 4:30. Do not watch the Giants game. There's no need. The Giants have it. Please don't watch that game. Enjoy your food because your food is not going to taste very well. Watch. You're going to sit there and watch. What's his name? Luck. Drew Lock versus Cooper Rush, or it might be Trey Lance because they might be down on their third quarterback also. So you don't need to watch that. Don't watch it. Enjoy the stuffing.
Yeah. I'll see.
I have to watch it. But I'm telling people you don't have to. I'll watch it for you. Don't have to do that.
Yeah. Geoff, Jerrell, Aj, the chat, the replay game, those that's listening that's not in the chat. I appreciate you guys rocking with us.
Thank you.
And the Knicks play. When do the Knicks play again?
Friday. We play the Hornets on Friday.
At 12 o'clock. The Knicks, I need y'all to come out with. Well, you never have to worry about the Knicks after a loss.
I always worry about the Knicks, Queen.
It's a matinee. Another one of those matinee games. You know, like those early games. I don't know.
They should be outlawed. I don't see any reason why we have to be playing games at noon.
I absolutely hate them.
Yeah,
hate them games.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna be at work.
Oh, you're working for
I'm working. Yeah. So.
Well, everybody, hopefully I'm traveling tomorrow on Thanksgiving, actually. But, for everyone else, hopefully you've traveled to where you need to go already. If not, travel safe tomorrow. Enjoy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week. I'll be on the Queen's Court Monday. Me and hopefully Geoff can make it. Lady and the Chef and Tony Crow, Knicks and Bruises. Until next time.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?
Dope Soul.